Good afternoon, good morning, good evening. I don't exactly know where each one is coming from. Namaste and greetings of peace and good health to everyone. Welcome to our sub-plenary on the decent work for all in sustainable value chains platform. So, just to give you a rundown of what we will expect to happen in the next 1 hour and 15 minutes, we will have an introduction and background by Ms. Mitos Orhel, and then uh, the concept note will be presented by Kanika, and we will have then two cutting edge practices on decent work and sustainable value change that will be shared with us by our distinguished speakers. And then we will have our open forum. And I know everyone is looking forward to a healthy exchange of ideas and insights. And then we will not end today's activities without coming up with some actionable things that we can do in the short term or even medium or long term. Our good friend Thea from ASBay will lead us into that discussion of okay, what can we do next? And of course, everything good will have to come to an end to give way to something better in the coming days. So we will have a wrap up and closing also by Thea. So with that, I will now introduce uh, each one of our uh, moderators and speakers. So first of all, I'd like to introduce Ms. Mitos Orhel, the president of the World Fair Trade Organization Asia, a co-convener of the platform for decent work for all and in sustainable value chains. She is also the president executive director of Women's Education for Advancement and Empowerment, or WEAV, in Thailand. And she is a mission-driven professional, has been actively and passionately leading WEAV in advancing the rights, status, and dignity of refugees, displaced, and underprivileged ethnic women on the Thai-Myanmar border via education and its work in Thailand, and also leading the Weave Fair Trade enterprise, which is mobilizing refugee women uh, in producing fair trade products. Next, you've heard her earlier in the plenary, but I'd like to introduce her again. So, Ms. Kanika Huja, our the director of Conserve India, a member also of WFTO Asia. So, after finishing her MBA, Kanika realized that her calling is in social enterprises. So, she regards herself as a social entrepreneur with demonstrated history of working in sustainable development and the sustainable fashion industry. She is skilled in creation of social enterprises, passionate for the advocacy of circular economy and fair trade initiatives with the proven excellence in materials innovation to create value out of waste. So she is a certified trainer for livelihoods by UNHCR and ILO, and a mentor for ATAL Tinkering Labs, among others. She has been involved with Conserve India since she was 10 years old. My gosh, look at that. And now, for the past 5 years, she has been leading Conserve India. Um, our one of our distinguished speaker sharer for this afternoon is ASBA's executive council member for South Asia, uh, and she Menu Vadera is also the executive director of Assad Foundation and founder of Shaka Cab Hire Services. Interesting. So they are leading social enterprise that supports resource poor women to gain livelihood with dignity and become change agents. They pioneered the idea of women as professional chauffeurs. They have trained more than 650 women to become employed as chauffeurs. I would love to go around India through their services one day after COVID. And they are an award-winning organization, winning several awards in the past few years. Uh, to mention a few, the Edelweiss Social Honors, 1 billion raising Sangat for innovative work and addressing violence against women, and first prize in the Women in Business category in the bid networking last 2010. Okay, and following would be Mr. Chandra Prasad Kachipati, Executive Director of Sana Hastakala, and another guaranteed fair trade organization and based in Kathmandu. And he has been serving Sana Hastakala for the past 30 years. He has devoted his time leading the organization to improve the economic and social conditions of disadvantaged and neglected handicraft workers through the revival of traditional handicrafts techniques, as well as the development of new skills and product ideas to produce, to producers networks consisting of 65 groups representing 1,200 artisans from various districts in Nepal. He is also one of the founding members of the Fair Trade Group Nepal, the country network of fair trade enterprises in Nepal, and he was also its immediate past president. And finally, we have Ms. Cecilia Victorino Soriano, the Programs and Operations Coordinator of ASPE. ASPE, by the way, is the Asia Pacific. Oh my gosh! So, here, basic and adult education, and she has been with the ASPE since 2012, and ASPE is a regional network of more than 200 civil society organizations and individuals promoting the rights to quality education and transformative lifelong learning for all. So I'm probably an honorary member of that, as I'm a lifelong learner myself. And she's an advocacy advisor that works with national education coalitions in Nepal, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Indonesia, and they work together to build capacities and effectively engaging governments on education reforms, especially focused on systems change, policies, programs that will benefit marginalized learners. And with that, we will now begin our sub-plenary. And to give us an introduction and background, let me call on Mitas of WFTO Asia. Mitas, you have the screen and the mic.
Thank you, Jerome. Once again, welcome everyone. We are very pleased to have you join us in this afternoon session. The Asia South Pacific Association for Basic and Adult Education, ASBE, together with the World Fair Trade Organization Asia, is leading the formation of the platform on the decent work for all in sustainable value chain. This platform is one of the 4 platforms being created by the Institute for Social Entrepreneurship in Asia to build back better, fairer on multiple SDG post-COVID. This platform would enable social enterprises in the region working in sustainable value chains to seek help in ensuring their survival and or pivoting in the time of pandemic, as well as in the efforts to achieve resilient recovery towards a fairer economy. A lot of emphasis has been given to building sustainable value chains with COVID exposing the gaps in our current value chains. This platform would enable partnerships, access up-to-date information, further market access, and create benefit for the participating organization. There is indeed a need for a robust social entrepreneurship movement in Asia, and we need to employ innovative business models. Social enterprises can play a significant role in addressing Asia's vast development needs in a sustainable manner using viable revenue and models. Social enterprises' engagement in decent work for all and sustainable value chain have the potential of transforming the lives of marginalized women and their communities. Thus, social enterprises need to be developed further to accelerate their impact and form strategic collaboration of ease of small to large scale adoption of sustainable practices. And in order to further discuss the framework of this platform, I would like to invite Ms. Kanika Ahuja to share to us. Kanika, the screen is yours.
Thank you, Mitos. Yes. Hello, everyone. Today, I'm just giving you a brief of what we have planned for the decent work for all in sustainable value chains. Sorry. Yes. So this is a platform that will be launched as one of the 4 platforms that ISEA is developing. This is being co-convened by the World Fair Trade Organization as well as the Asia South Pacific Association for Basic and Adult Education. For this platform, we're going to be focused on the enterprises that make up the social economy. These enterprises address primarily societal needs, social and environmental concerns, and must have economic activities that are organized differently. We need inclusive governance, multiple types of resources, sustainable practices, cooperation, collaboration, and all of this together makes what we call a social economy. Associations, cooperatives, foundations, all of these are support organizations that a social enterprise needs today to make this movement stronger. This platform will be focusing on mainly 3 SDGs, SDG 5, 8, and 13. SDG 5, which is achieving gender equality and empowering all girls and women, will be led by ASPE. ASPE has been doing a lot, is the expert on gender justice, and will also be working on SDG 4.4 and 4.6, which is on youth and adult literacy. SDG 8, decent work and economic growth. We have the experts on this at WFTO Asia. Fair trade is a means for decent work, and it is a philosophy that we all can imbibe to promote decent work with economic growth. SDG 13, responsible production and consumption, is one of the main SDGs which comprise the sustainable value chains. And WFTO Asia in their network have several partner organizations, mine included, who work on this SDG. This platform, first we'll go SDG by SDG, what our goals are. So SDG 5, achieve gender equality and empower all girls and women. ASPE will be leading gender just skills education in this platform. This includes 3 parts: right to gender skills, just skills education, rights within, and rights through gender just education. So first, there is a learning involved when we talk about gender just education, but it also talks about why this learning was not provided in the first place. And once this learning is provided, how do we help these people to get economic prosperity through these learnings? Sorry, something happened. Yes. I'm so sorry. Yes, so this platform will have 6 aspects to it. One is having a case study repository, all the best practices, innovative ideas, case studies of member organizations, of innovative business models who follow decent work and sustainable value chains. All of this will be put in this repository. There will be a peer community where you can work together, form collaborations, learn from each other, and share information that might be useful for this community in itself. The platform will also initiate and support research activities in terms of decent work and sustainable value chains, and will be documenting best practices that have happened before or come from within this platform. There will be a resource bank where resources on gender equality, on learning, adult education, fair trade, how to make decent work happen, what are the economic prospects of fair trade, all of this will be stored in the resource bank. And one of the main aspects of this program will be the Fair Trade Accelerator, where we will have an opportunity to include social enterprises and help them become fair trade. These are the target organizations for this platform. They should be social enterprises or social enterprise support organizations working in the scope of our target SDGs. They should fulfill the due diligence forms, and they should be from Asia, working in the handicrafts supply chain, which is a localized supply chain, and should fulfill protection guidelines for persons employed throughout their value chains. The platform is divided into two programs. First is the Digital Information Sharing and Community Platform. This will be a digital ICT-based platform for information sharing and community building, and then the Fair Trade Accelerator. So the information sharing and community platform will have a login for each user, for each enterprise who has become part of this platform. The platform will also have different tabs for learning how to use this platform. Initiatives, what are the different initiatives that are currently undergoing, and the platform or its community members are currently involved in. Events, discussion topics, the resource bank, private groups where you can collaborate with each other, and like this is just so that the platform can support these collaborations. The people, meeting new people who are in this sphere and connecting with them, private chats, notifications, and your own profile. The Fair Trade Accelerator has a mission to enable social enterprises in Asia to become fair and enable decent work. Fair trade, as defined by the World Fair Trade Organization, is a trading partnership based on dialogue, transparency, and respect that seeks greater equity in international trade. It is a parallel to what we call free trade today, and it offers a new philosophy that is more fair and dignified for the workers. Especially in Asia, we need this philosophy as major exploitation is happening in Asian countries as the producer countries of the world. And thus, fair trade offers us a parallel opportunity that we need to take up today to ensure dignified work for all. This Fair Trade Accelerator will have different programs under it. So once social enterprises enroll in this Fair Trade Accelerator, they will undergo intensive business coaching, expert sessions. Business coaching enrolls different coachings, like for a startup or a small organization. It's very important to learn the different aspects of doing business. And once, because we want social enterprises to compete with mainstream businesses, it is important that they get the same education in marketing, finance, IT, and accounting. And we have expert sessions planned, which will be for digital marketing, trend analysis, forecasting, and then a special session on remote compliance training. A lot of us in running small businesses, we just get too caught up in our day-to-day activities and find it challenging to gather documentation that these kind of large international audits need. Remote compliance training has an objective to get our systems right, and therefore making these international audits easier. Enabling market linkages, especially when the world is going digital, we are all at a loss of how to connect to new buyers. That's why this digital platform will make it easier for us to establish these market linkages. Financial support opportunities, grants and competitions that are happening in sustainable value chains and decent work. And they happen all over the world, but we need to get information on them. Opportunity to be awarded WFTO membership. Once you go through all these processes as an enterprise and go through all the learnings and the trainings that the program will offer, 3 of the enterprises enrolled in the program will get an opportunity for a free WFTO membership. So this will be an opportunity for all the selected applicants to have hand-holding guidance to become fair trade compliant and start a new way of doing business with fairness and dignity. Thank you. That's all for the platform right now. We're open to your comments and suggestions, and we'll be happy to include them. Thank you.
Wow, Kanika, that was really perfect timing. On the dot. Exactly 10 minutes. Thank you so much. And now, please reserve your questions and your insights during our open forum we will give everyone enough time to interact and discuss with each other. For now, I would like to turn over the microphone and the screen to our good friend Miss Menu Badera of ASBE.
Thank you,
Menu,
Jerome.
you have the screen and the mic. You have 10 minutes.
Yes, I yeah. So thank you, Jerome, and thanks everybody. It's a privilege to be sharing about our work in this forum. And I must start by saying that I'm wearing various hats. The first, as you said, is I represent the South Asia region. I'm part of the Executive Council of ASPE and a founder of Sakha and Azad, which is a social enterprise based in India. And I'll just be talking about our experience on the ground and the work that we have been doing over the years, which has led us to, together with ASPE and with all our other partners, develop the concept of gender just skill education. So I'll just share a little bit about our work and then I will pull out the principles of gender just skill education framework from therein. So just to begin, Sakha is basically provides safe and reliable transport options for women by women, and in the process, it creates livelihoods with dignity, remunerative livelihoods with dignity for resource poor women. And when we say resource poor, we are not just looking at women who are economically poor, but women across the intersectionality in terms of women who are poor either by economic resources, marginalized because of their caste, class, religion, or any other, sexuality, etc. And Safa works closely with Azad, which is an NGO. Safa is a for-profit and Azad is a not-for-profit working together. And Azad Foundation and Safa, both of them were set up in 2008. Azad does the work with the communities on the ground, helping prepare the professional chauffeurs with whom Safa works, as professional chauffeurs. Just a little bit more, before I go into a little bit more detail about it, to give a context as to why it was set up. The context, as we all know, is about complete inequality when it comes to from a gender perspective, and particularly in India. India is one of the few countries in the world where women's participation in women's participation in labor force has been actually going down, and today it's even below 24%. It is around 18%, and I'm sure because of COVID, it has gone further down. There are huge gendered social norms which restrict women's mobility, women's access to resources, and the kind of freedom and choice they might have about uh, the work occupations that they can take. The entire body of unpaid care work, which the women are loaded with actually all over the world, is another reason why women are not able to give it what it takes to enter the workforce. In fact, it's almost like entering the workforce with one hand tied behind their backs. And all of this has contributed to a context of a great amount of not just inequality, but also women have, grow up with the fear of the public spaces, and violence against women serves very much to ensure that this fear is perpetuated to in turn further keep up the status quo. So it is keeping in mind this context that Azad and Sakha were set up as a disruptive social enterprise which is committed to working with women from the bottom of the pyramid. Uh, Given the time, let me just quickly jump to what Sakha is. Sakha, like I said, offers these various services across Delhi, Jaipur, Kolkata, and Indore. All these services are offered by women drivers, and they are primarily for women travelers, women and family. Of course, COVID has pushed us to compromise a little bit on that given the extreme dip in the business. So We are working to provide our services to all right now. And we have also introduced Saka delivery and logistics services, and we are still piloting that. But these are the various gamut of services which bring women into the transport sector, which is primarily even today very male dominated. Till now, Saka has provided employment opportunities to more than 1,000 plus, and it is worth to note that by 2008, when Saka was starting, there were hardly any commercial women chauffeurs in the entire North India, I can say, if not all of India. So given that, it has been able to bring more than 1,000 women into the employment, active employment, provided more than 1.5 million safe rides, and has obviously got a lot of firsts given the fact that there were no other women chauffeurs earlier in terms of the first all-women cab service. Uh, you know, it has given Delhi its first ever woman bus driver. And in most of the places, actually, it has been a first because there were no women chauffeurs to begin with. Of course, right now it is, all the social enterprises are facing a huge challenge, and especially those in travel and transport, I mean, which is one of the biggest hit sectors from the COVID challenge. These have been the Saka clients. Some of them continue to be our clients today. While we are still in this transition process. Saka chauffeurs, like I said, are resourceful women who have empowered themselves and gained professional competencies. They are trained to do that by Azad Foundation, which is a sister organization, a partner of Saka. The driving skills are provided through Maruti and other franchisees, as well as the in-house trainers. And the chauffeurs are also trained in skills such as self-defense, English speaking, and a whole lot of other domains. I'll just take a minute to explain that as well. Azad, which is the partner of Saka, works with the communities to ensure that one who didn't have the context. I mean, we all have the context of Asia, but particularly in India, I mean, the amount of difficulty it is to convince women to even get out of their homes, and more so for young women. There is a survey by the National Health Family Survey, which says that more than 70% of the women require permission to even access a primary healthcare center on their own. So in that context, there is a need to create an ecosystem of change at the community level, without which it will be very tough to sustain women's participation in whichever activities that we were to look at, and especially if it was something as disruptive as entering the transport sector. So Azad works with young men from the perspective of including them into the process and the struggle for gender justice. It works with young adolescent girls who are still in school and who are between in the last 4 years of school, when a lot of them drop out of either school and they start thinking of getting married, and working with those women to influence their notions of work and work that women can do, and introducing them to the choices that they might have for themselves. And it also works with with feminist leaders within the community, training them to become a kind of a survival support structure for young women who make choices to do different things with their lives.
Sorry to interrupt, Manu. Last 2 minutes, please.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Okay, so this is the training model, which I've already talked about. Let me come to the gender just skill education approach. And basically, the approach looks at enabling access, which is right, to gender just skill education. And then once women have access to such a training, what are the rights that they can expect within such a training, and then what such a training should lead to, which is employment and engaging with the market, and then influencing the larger market context. Just to explain that a little bit more, when we are talking about access to such a training, that is the entire work which I've just said Azad does with the community in terms of working with the adolescent girls, women, men, and all of them. And our basic premise is that if we are working with resource poor women, it is not just enough to provide them skills. It is important to work within a skills plus plus. It is important to work within a gender just skill education approach so that in the first place, the women have the information and the ability to access such a training program. And once they get into the training program itself is able to address the structural constraints that have in the first place stopped women from participating in these training programs. And that is what the training that Azad gives. And helping them engage with the market. As we know, a majority of the gig economy today rests on contractualization of labor, and Saka works on a model where majority of the women drivers seek employment. So women are looking for decent work and not so much as entrepreneurship, which actually poor women have always been. And so engaging with the market, looking at employment options, and continuing to helping them sustain through these markets is really looking at the whole aspect of rights, through such a training program, ultimately to ensure that women are able to empower themselves and, are able to transform their own lives. So the impact cycle is not just about women who have access to skills, but they are able to use these skills to gain remunerative livelihoods. And in terms of our experience, where they, in fact, the livelihoods are so remunerative that they become principal breadwinners in their families. It's not just some marginal increases in their money, and the cycle of empowerment, therefore, that follows. These are examples of the women who have been through the program. And to finally say that if we follow an approach about helping women access livelihoods from a gender just skill education perspective, we are looking at addressing several SDGs, of course, SDG 5 and 8 and 1, which are basically on gender parity and work and reducing poverty, but also about quality education. It impacts intergenerational change by enabling most of the children, and especially the girl children, to have very different life choices available to them when they have empowered mothers who are able to earn livelihoods with dignity. So I think thank you very much, and I will hope to address more details to the questions that come to me.
Thank you very much, Menu. So now we turn over the microphone and the screen to Mr. Chandra of Sana Hastakala for his sharing. Chandra, you have 10 minutes.
Thank you, Jeremy. And namaste and good afternoon. So today I will briefly share with you my experience working with fair trade for last 30 years. So as I was introduced, I have been working in a guaranteed fair trade organization called Sana Hastakala for last 30 years. But at the meantime, I was very much involved in the evolvement of fair trade network in Nepal, which is called Fair Trade Group Nepal. And the work so we are collectively doing. So it's just a simple experience for last 3 decades, how fair trade emerged and how it has become a successful, sustainable business model for poverty reduction, for women empowerment, and so on. So to start with, we call fair trade organization in short FTOs. So FTOs started in Nepal in the early 1990s. Though at that time the terminology fair trade was not popular, we had 3 or 4 organizations at a time. Some are NGO and some are semi-government organizations, and some projects like we had Women's Skill Development Project. It was a semi-government project, And then we had this Bhaktapur craft printers. It was a UNICEF project to promote the handmade paper producers. So those organizations and Mahagoti and other organizations. So those organizations were there in the early 80s to support mostly the poor and destitute women. So involving them in the production of craft and helping in the marketing and since most of them were working as not-for-profit or semi-government organizations, their main objective was to provide the employment and increase the income of such producers and women. And so slowly such organizations, the number of such organizations increased, and in middle of 90s, so we came across with the terminology fair trade. So we happen to know about IFAT, the current World Fair Trade Organizations at that time is used to call IFAT. And so we developed a network, so we happen to know about the concept of fair trade. And then at the time, around in the middle of 90s, about 10 such organizations were working individually. And we realized the necessity of forming a network whereby we can collectively work for the benefit of the people for whom we had been working. That is how the concept of Fair Trade Group Nepal emerged. So it was in 1993. The 7 member organizations decided to form a loose network and work informally for 2 years. So since the main objective of all those organizations were similar, but not sure how we could work because at that time we used to consider ourselves as competitors. We had retail outlets, we used to sell similar products, and we didn't know how successful the network will be. So we worked for 3 years informally, and in 1996, we realized that, okay, this form of solidarity, this form of network we really need. And we formally registered Fair Trade Group Nepal in 1996 with 7 founding organizations. And most of those organizations were not-for-profit organizations, but slowly the concept of fair trade became popular, and more even the private businesses were attracted towards coming into the network of fair trade. Then we allowed the private companies also to come into the network. And though we started initially with handicraft, slowly the other organizations working in the agro sector also joined Fair Trade Group Nepal. And so almost after 24 years, now we have 26 member organizations under this Fair Trade Group Nepal. And collectively, under those organizations, about 50,000 producers, 80% of whom are women. So they are directly benefited. That means about 50,000 women, 50,000 producers, and mostly women. And those women are also mostly marginalized. So like some are physically differentially able, some single women from this different these ethnic groups and so on. And we identified craft because it's easy to involve those women into handicraft. So we don't need big machines, big skills. The skills inherited in our society. The women know from the beginning how to weave, how to knit. So involving those women in those type of craft activities is quite easy. It doesn't need more investment, no machineries and so on. So our focus was mainly on handicrafts. And so though since we all are fair trade organizations, and we adhere the 10 principles of fair trade. So fair trade is in our heart. So that's the core mission of all the fair trading organizations. That means we strictly follow 10 fair trade principles. including good working conditions, fair wage, fair price, and benefit to our producers, including social benefits like provident fund, medical insurance, gratuity, leave, health support, and the most important thing is long relationship. So we have been working for 20 years, 25 years, and providing continuous and long-term employment opportunities to our producers and so on. And most of the fair trade organizations in Nepal, they are not only involved in production and marketing. So they have social objective, and most of them do the social work as well. Like some organizations are running hospital for this leprosy patients, and some organizations are running free school for the low caste people and so on. So parallelly, we are going in production, marketing, as well as in the social development activities as well. And most of the FTOs run as a sustainable business model. So we use indigenous raw materials available in our own country. So being a mountainous country, we have a lot of raw materials, naturally grown raw materials in the higher altitude. So we make handmade paper from a special plant called lokcha. And at the same time, we extract fiber from wild nettle, and different accessories, clothing are made from that. And we are very rich in art and craft. And so those art and craft, traditional art and craft had been transferred into a product, handicraft product, like Mithila product and so on. And most of the fair trade organizations are engaged in providing skill development training to the fresh as well as the existing producers and so on. And one very successful and most important activity we did is joint marketing. So the responsibility is taken by the Fair Trade Group Nepal, and with the support of other development organizations, embassies, we organize fairs, exhibitions where all the members and even the non-members, like minded non-members, can bring their products, individual artisans. So it has become a very popular event.
Chandra, apologies for the interruption. You have last 2 minutes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. So like that, so we have been working, and so in 30 years, so we are very much proud to say that the concept of fair trade is very popular in Nepal, and we have been doing a lot of advocacy work as well. And we have found that the artisans with whom we started working in 10 or 15 years back have become the successful entrepreneurs themselves, and they have been able to give employment to more women. And at the same time, the concept of fair trade has become a prestigious terminology. The business community, the government officials, everyone recognize and respect fair trade. And recently, we are proud to share with you that recently, the government, the Ministry of Commerce of Nepal government has collaborated with Fair Trade Group Nepal to promote fair trade and to help the marginalized producers. Next slide, please. Advocacy, I already shared with you. And so our great achievement, as I explained you, is the fair trade has been recognized by government, business community, development organization as a tool for employment creation, market promotion, and poverty reduction for backward, marginalized people in Nepal. And we are happy to share with you that the fair trade organizations contribute more than 10% of the total handicraft export of Nepal. So it's not only the social values the fair trade organizations in Nepal are adopting. We are business-wise also very much successful, and we have been able to grow our market and export. And so we have been able to develop partnership with development organizations like Oxfam, IM Sweden. So many development organizations have recognized the work we did in Nepal, and they are very much looking forward to work with us in improving the lives of marginalized producers. So I have some photographs of some of the our producers. Like this is the traditional spinning of the natural fiber I mentioned, wild nettle, which is grown in the very high altitude. And next photograph is of a Mithila art. So there is a great social transformation in this case. The women used to make the art in the walls of their mud houses, and with the establishment of one of the founder member of Fair Trade Group Nepal, is called Janakpur Women's Development Center. So they have been able to bring the women from their houses who were not allowed to go out and show their faces. So they are the organization was able to bring them to the center and transform that art into the product, which could be marketed, which generated income. And not only that, so they have been able to come out to the society, talk with the people, and come with the buyers and so on. So it's a great social transformation. Next slide, please. I think that's all. Thank you very much. So if you have any other questions, you are welcome to do during the open forum. Thank you very much.
Yes. Thank you, Chandra Ji. So before we go to the open forum and have a very healthy exchange of thoughts, ideas, and maybe post some questions, let's take our group photo first. And as of this moment, we have grown to 39 participants. It's a big number. So, all right. Bernadette or Vats will
Ready?
be
Please.
taking the picture.
Yes, please turn on your cameras.
Yes. Activate your video cam, your webcam, and show us your
Eileen.
most beautiful smiles.
Okay, ready, guys? 1, 2, 3. First batch. There's 2 light. Okay, one more. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Last one. Okay, last one because there's 2 and 1, 2, 3, smile. Okay. We're good, Jerome.
All right. So now we open the floor for questions, insight sharing. So it's basically like an open mic for us. So just to have some order in our open forum, there is a button there. Raise your hands. So so that we know who to call for the question. So who would like to be first? So please raise your hands, like in our classroom. We are, of course, we are among learners and educators and trainers. So, okay, so recitation time. Who would be the first to ask questions? Or
Shanta is raising her hand.
Oh, okay, Shanta. Actually, Shanta, that's the clap. So, but yeah, I'll take that as raising your hands too. Okay, Shanta, you have the microphone.
Okay. Thank you very much. First of all, thank you so much for excellent presentation by all the presenters. It's really, really helpful for the CSOs who are really working for the rights of CSOs for doing social enterprises. My query goes to Kanika. Because I think the platform you are talking about is an excellent platform for ISEA. So what's the process of being a part of the platform? That's a simple question for Kanika. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Shanta, for the question. Basically, the platform will have an open call for all fair trade enterprises as well as all social enterprises who are part of ISEA or even in the broader networks. And then we will have a set of due diligence forms and which will be sent to the applicant. So once those forms clear our criteria of like the enterprise should be in Asia, should be in the handicraft sector, should have a localized supply chain and working with artisans, or be a support organization, and also clear the protection form for everybody who's working in the value chain. Once all of these criteria are met, then the organization will be onboarded to the platform, and then the organization can start networking and utilizing the platform.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else would like to ask questions or share insights? So, Shanta, we will be expecting your like formal expression of interest to join, but you know, it's a small community and we are pioneering this work, so we do encourage our fellow social enterprise and fair trade enterprises to take an active part. And other support organizations, so not all are social enterprise, but other organizations, NGOs, or other civic groups, or even maybe partners from government or business would like to help and contribute. So there's a place for everybody. We're going to be very inclusive. All right.
Can I share one study which very recently we have done in Nepal, and my organization has done a study of CSOs who are engaged in social enterprises, so access to justice through social enterprises. So we are advocating for social enterprises, not for profit sharing, but for work on the social enterprises. So we in Nepal now we are advocating even for the CSOs to really engage in social enterprises so that they will able to continue their mission work, primary social work, without depending on foreign funding. So this is what we are advocating now, and very recently we have. So I would like to share, if anybody interested, like to share the study report as well. Thank you.
Yes, Chandra, actually you can send a copy of the report if it's for sharing in the group chat. Actually, you can do that right now so that our participants can get it, or you can also send it to I will send you an email address where you can send it and we can share it with others.
Okay, fine, I will do that. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Can we hear from others also? Any lingering questions? Yes, Chandra, I would like to say something or
Thank you.
respond as well. Yeah.
Yeah, I have a small queries to Minuji. So I'm wondering when they operate this Saka cab hire, do you have any confrontation or protest from other regular cab operators? Like nowadays, we have been hearing about the protest against this tutel and so on. So it's completely a new concept with the women chauffeurs. So from other the traditionally run taxi drivers or cab operators, was there any sort of confrontation or protest you have to face? Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Chandra, for that question. We have, I think, Saka is still, relatively speaking, a much smaller enterprise. So I don't think, in that sense, we are a serious competition to the larger players around, like the Uber, the Ola, and the other market players. We have had a lot of them approach us for because they do appreciate the idea of women drivers, and I think a lot of them have begun to also understand the fact that it is good for their business to have more women drivers. So a lot of them have made public statements about wanting to have women drivers, etc. And there are many women drivers, not many, but a few women drivers who have gone and joined them on their own as well. However, their larger business model is still, I mean, it's not really gender sensitive. It does not, it is just like you have men drivers and you also add women drivers. So invariably, they are not able to retain the women with them. So as a company, to answer your question, we have not had any kind of a backlash or resistance, but we've had, in fact, there has been appreciation and support. However, it has not yet translated into understanding what would need to shift to make this change larger scale and more mainstream. And we continue with those efforts. Yeah, I hope I've responded to your question.
Oh, okay. Chandra G is on mute, but I guess that was a very insightful response. And after COVID, I will, when I get a chance to visit India, in areas where you have your services, I will definitely give you a call, and
Please.
perhaps, perhaps discuss how we can also link our programs and projects together. Okay.
Sure.
There are 29 people in the room. Can we hear from? Okay, so that was, I guess that was Central Asia, right? So how about we hear from Southeast and other parts of Asia? So we have a balanced discussion. Patricia, Ma'am Patricia, you want to say something, but you're on mute. There, okay.
I would like to share and at the same time ask questions from Kanika regarding the platform, and of course also the experience with the circular economy concept. No? I come from a multi-purpose cooperative here in Malolos, St. Francis Multi-Purpose Cooperative. But because we have tried to reorient our programs from purely credit and savings organization, we are now a multi-purpose cooperative, and we link this also to the triple bottom line objectives of equity and environment plus sustainability. Of course, we try our best, but we are not yet in the ideal stage of, like, for instance, fair trade organizations. We have not experienced any interventions yet from the fair trade organizations. But regarding the waste management program, we have started the eco bricks production from residual waste, the plastic laminates, which we incorporate into the bricks. And so we are, it's already 1 year in existence, and we are trying to expand the plastic management because we have failed initially. We tried to influence our local government.
Patricia, we lost your audio.
No, it's not mute anymore.
Jerome,
so
we can hear you. We can hear you.
You can hear me? Can you hear me?
All right. Yes.
I'm not. So maybe I would like to get more detailed information on the circular economy concept and the practice, of course. And maybe that's why will our organization be qualified to join the platform, even if we have not really done much yet, not very little impact yet on the environment, although we have started on our own initially with our members, starting with one type of, of waste only. So, and for that we even get criticisms because it may not be it may not be actually climate how do you call it, fit for the quality of, or for the kind of recycling that we want, which is more environment friendly. So I'd like really to get to know more about the more detailed ways of doing a circular economy model.
Yes,
That's
yes, you would be exactly the kind of business and an enterprise that we're looking for, because this platform and even the accelerator is basically for organizations who want to grow in the field of decent work as well as sustainable value chains. So we're not looking for big enterprises who know how to do it all. This is all for small organizations who want to evolve in this field, and so the platform will have a lot of resources and information that will be shared between community members from experts who can talk more about decent work, circular economy, building upcycling technologies, and even the technology that you are using, for example, it may be useful to other counterparts who are on the platform. And this is how the platform wants to facilitate exchanges between these organizations who have different expertise. And that's why it would be great if you become a part of the platform as well as the accelerator.
Okay. Thank you very much. And thank you for all the speakers.
Thank you, Ate Patricia. Malolos, by the way, is one of the cities in Metro Manila, Philippines. Okay, I think we can entertain maybe one or two more short questions before we move to the session of Thea. The Thea will be facilitating our actionable next steps. We will not end this session without, coming up with, something like that, very concrete actions. I think what our take there is, we want to do something, maybe right away, or not just end in just discussion, but really come up with something concrete after this. So but before that, before I turn over the mic and the screen to Thea, maybe one more or two more questions or insights. Wow. Okay. I guess no one's raising their hands, and
Ate Patricia seemed to be talking.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I did not unmute. I will just add one more question for fair trade.
Yes,
because,
go ahead, please.
If this will be action oriented, so I would like to know exactly what will happen. For instance, if the cooperative joins such a group, whether is fair trade inclusive of everything financial, how do you call it? What does it include? It includes wages. Does it include standard in wages of the cooperative or of the enterprises? Is this the implication? Will there be some improvements and principles integrated into our system of wages and benefits?
Okay. Mitos, would you like to take on that question? Or I also see here our Vice President, Swapan, is in the group.
Maybe Swapan would like to share.
Yeah. So what will it be for them if they will go fair trade? What benefits will the cooperative gain, and how will this impact their operations, their everything about them if they become fair trade? So, Pan, would you like to take that question? I think Mitas, Sopan is not, he's on mute still. Or Chandra from the, so Mitas, will you take that, or Chandra will take that question?
Maybe.
I can briefly answer.
Yeah, please go ahead, Mr. Chandra.
Yeah, because this is the question we have been hearing in Nepal from many people, and especially from the business organizations. And we always try to answer them that it's not the benefit you have to look. It's the commitment you have to express yourself. So some business organizations, they see that after joining Fair Trade Network, their business will grow, and the network, the Fair Trade Network will give them more clients, more buyers, or give financial support, or market linkages, and so on. But it's it's not always true. So fair trade, actually, it should come from the core heart of the organization, of the people who are working in fair trade. So they want to help the marginalized producers. They want to create opportunities for the marginalized producers. So to advocate fair trade, to promote fair trade, and to expand fair trade, so everyone is welcome to become the member of the network. So of course, if you need further information like the requirements you have to comply with, the fair trade principles, or so there might be different criteria in different networks. So we have a global organization called World Fair Trade Organizations. So it depends where you want to be involved. Whether you want to involve in the country network in your country. So in Philippines, I believe you do have a network of theater organizations in Philippines, or at the regional level. Yeah, of course, the WTO Asia might help you in guiding you. And of course, there is the global body. And it depends where you want to take the membership, to the national network, or in the global, or in the region. So they can guide you. They can guide you, but all of them have their criteria, and you will have to fulfill those criteria. That's what I can say. Maybe Mitos can elaborate some more.
Mitos, would you like to add something before we?
Yeah, I think
Thank you.
generally Mr. Chandra have covered the necessary information. We can actually have more discussion with a group of Patricia, and we have actually also a current member who is based in Manila. I think Rowena is here. Is Rowena here? Yeah,
Yeah,
Rowena is
she's
here,
here.
and since they're close in the Philippines, then I can actually exchange.
Yeah, I just saw Rowena activate her video, but Rowena, you're on mute in case you want to say something and link up with Patricia.
Hi, good afternoon. I sent her a private message in the chat box.
Okay.
If I can get in touch with her. So I gave my email address and my mobile number. So we can talk about
great.
fair trade.
That's great.
I don't know if Ma'am Patricia saw the message. Ma'am Patricia, is she still there?
Anyway, we'll make sure that we make that connection. So I think that's our cue, no? Making things happen right away. So for our actionable next steps and to lead us into the wrap up of our sub-plenary, and thank you very much for still hanging around. We have extended a bit, and I think everyone's commitment to still see this through until the end. I will just spend a few more minutes to discuss actionable next steps and short wrap up from that will be led by Thea. So Thea, you have the microphone and the screen. Thea, you're still on mute.
Okay. Thank you, Jerome and colleagues. I think this is not the last time that we're going to see each other, because we are going to talk about the actionable next steps. So, I mean, so why did we put actionable? I know we're all very busy, but we would like to ask you, what can we do in the coming months to push forward the platform? In the plenary session, we heard about what the platform is, thanks to Kanika. And then in this meeting, we have heard 2 examples of what we have to offer in the platform, the rich experiences that we have along, within the network. And so now we would like to ask colleagues, because we know that this platform doesn't end in this session, but we want to carry this forward, something that we will collaborate on, but as we mentioned in the group, we want the platform to grow organically. So this is something that we agree on, we take the momentum, perhaps we build small steps, and then, based on our momentum, we can then expand if we see it necessary. So now I open the floor to colleagues. Do you have any suggestions on what we can do to push forward the platform? Anyone from the group? Okay, so I can see my colleague Susmita is raising her hand. So Susmita, the floor is yours, please.
Thank you, Thea, and thank you, ISEA, for the conference. Is really very informative, the main plenary and also the sub-plenary for sure. Thea, I have just two things that is coming to my mind at this moment after hearing from all the panelists. Number one is that, as I understand, that the platform aims to actually enable social enterprise working in the sustainable value chain to showcase their case studies, share experiences, learning, etc. And it also looks into how they can work on the three main SDGs, which is 5, 8, and 13. So after hearing from Minu's presentation on the Sakha cabs, what I feel is that if the components that is there can also include the approach of gender just skills education, which can be actually a very good approach of including more organizations who are taking this step of working with focusing on not only like decent work, but also dignity, where women are empowered to make their own choices, which is very, very significant, especially in the context not only of whole Asia, but of course, I come from South Asia, so where it is very, very important. So that's one thing that I felt, if there is a possibility. And the second thing is what I also feel is that if there is a possibility for expansion of the platform to include more organizations, map their activities in reference to the described components, and then identify the themes for the sharing and the learning. So that's what I wanted to share. Maybe the first step for the platform to grow. Thank you, Thea.
Thank you, Susmita. These are very helpful. So you suggested 3 points. So one is to look at organizations working around the SDGs that we have mentioned and expand, possibly map out organizations, and then identify the themes also that we can carry forward. Thanks, Susmita. So any more suggestions from colleagues? Do you have any other suggestions on how we can work together? But you can also ask questions, clarifications if you like, if at the moment you think that it's too early to suggest actionable next steps.
May I say something? May I say something? Now, it will always, may I say something?
Yes, please, Patricia. Is it Patricia?
Could there be someone or a group who will coordinate this effort? So there are people who will organize this and maybe remind us on remind us, or even organize activities similar to this sharing. Maybe we can move forward.
Okay, Patricia, thank you. Currently, the platform, the team is composed of WFTO and ASBE, and of course, colleagues who are part of these networks. And of course, we want to invite some more, organizations who would like to be part of the core team. And yes, I think one of the things related to your suggestion to be able to coordinate this effort, we will ask ISEA for your email addresses. So if it's okay to colleagues, we will, ask for your email addresses and make an email list based on the participants who are in this sub-plenary discussion. Is that okay? So we can coordinate with you through email. Okay, thank you, Jerome, and other colleagues. I hope this is fine. Don't unsubscribe in the email list, okay? Let's try some activities and we will coordinate with you.
Yeah, perhaps those who are here may know of other social enterprises or fair trade enterprises or other organizations who might be interested in this work that we are trying to initiate. So maybe we can also open like nominations as to who we can invite to join the effort.
Yes. So if you have, if you know any organizations who are not able to come to this plenary, sub-plenary session, but you think, they're very appropriate for our group, then please nominate or endorse them, and then we can email them. Thank you. Thanks, Jerome. That's a good idea. Okay, any more? Okay, Bernadette or Bads said that you can put your email addresses in the chat box so we can, access them immediately. So for those who have not given their emails to ISEA, please put them in the chat box. Otherwise, we will ask ISEA for your emails. Okay, any more? Do you have some dilemma? Shanta, I can see you, yes. You're smiling. Yes, Shanta.
Yeah, thank you, Serena. Just my query, my organization would like to be a part of the forum, but can we be a part of the forum? That's my question. We are not engaged in fair trade, but as I said, but our BBC is a national network organization. We have a member organization who are engaged in social enterprises.
Yes, yes.
So yes. Can I bring, but then because they are in the rural areas, so they might not be really able to, because of the language, they might not be able to be in the platform and sharing.
Yes.
But for such organization, how can we afford access to this type of platform?
Yeah, well, we can look at that. Shanta, perhaps your organization can be the bridge to the local organizations, your organization being a network as well. So we can, and of course, eventually down the line, we might think of, discussion groups that might be in our own languages, just so that kind of collaboration can happen. But yeah, down the line, we can think of that. But my response to you is yes, let's think ways of connecting with local organizations as well. Thank you, Shanta, for that.
Thank you very much.
Very.
Thank you.
Yeah. So taking note of that, how can the platform be also a platform where local organizations can participate and addressing the challenges of language?
Yes.
Okay, so any more suggestion? From Central Asia, do you have any suggestion? Because I know from, we have colleagues from Kyrgyzstan here, and very happy to see that they took the time to participate in our sub-plenary discussions. Shanta, there is in the chat box, Fair Trade Group. Okay, Mitos, maybe you would like to talk about that. Yeah, Fair Trade Group in Nepal is also a connection according to Mitos, Shanta. So that connection can be done.
Thank you.
Okay, yes. Okay, so colleagues, do you have any more suggested actionable next steps? I know it's now, we are 23 minutes delayed. You know, we promised that we will end, but now it's 23 minutes from the schedule. We were over 23 minutes from the schedule. Any more suggestions?
I guess that's it. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if Bads have some announcement in preparation for tomorrow. Otherwise, Thea, you can proceed with closing. Bads, do you have anything before Thea closes formally?
Thank you, everyone. For tomorrow, we will be using the link we used a while ago in the main plenary, just to remind you, everyone. So hope to see you all guys all tomorrow in the main plenary. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Bads. It has been a wonderful day. It has been a long and wonderful day, but I think you will agree with me that this has been a very fruitful day, not only in the sub-plenary discussions, but the whole day where we were getting to know each other's work. And as I heard from colleagues, we said in our discussions, we should build a social enterprise movement. So I think I like the word movement because it connotes a political position. It connotes beyond self and gain, but it also connotes coming together of people with the same framework. And we said that social enterprise should have social responsibility, high community impact, and they should transform the lived realities of women and other marginalized groups. Colleagues in this platform on decent work for all and sustainable value chains, we have come together the expertise of different networks. And we have some offerings for colleagues. So WFTO has a very deep experience on fair trade, and they are offering the Fair Trade Accelerator as an entry point for you to engage, while ASBE and Azad Foundation is offering gender just skills education as part of social enterprises and within an ecosystem approach for empowering women, marginalized women. So thank you so much for those discussions, and I would like to acknowledge that in our sub-plenary discussion, there are 8 countries who have patiently, stayed until the end. So from South Asia, we have India, Nepal, Bangladesh. And from Central Asia, we have Kyrgyzstan. So I can see Masuma and Nazik there. Thank you so much. And from Southeast Asia, we have Indonesia, Philippines, Vietnam, and of course, Filipinos in Thailand, and some of you who are based in Thailand. Thank you so much for your active participation, and see you tomorrow. Now over to you, Jerome.
Oh, I just like to say it's a wrap.
A wrap.
Thank you for being fellow lifelong learners and champions of decent work and sustainable value chains. So thank you until see you tomorrow for the continuation of the SEAL conference day 2. But for our platform, see you in the next activity. And Bernadette, that's a very nice face mask. Do be careful out there. We need everyone to be healthy. We still have a big mission ahead. So keep safe, stay away from COVID, but do not stay away from us because we will definitely get in touch with you again. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
And
Bye.
yeah. So
Bye,
thank you for
Thank you.
ISEA, Bads, for putting this together.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
All right.